Roughly 6 years ago, BMW gave large families the vehicle they've been craving when they introduced the first ever BMW X7 all the way back in 2019. Remember, the X7 was designed to be BMW's flagship SUV, slotting above, of course, their original sports activity vehicle, the X5, which has always consistently been one of the company's top-selling models. Now, about 2 years ago, BMW gave the X7 family a pretty significant overhaul, one that included a brand new front fascia that was essentially taken from the flagship 7 Series. You got updated powertrains underneath the hood and an updated interior with their latest BMW iDrive software. So as you can see, this week we are testing out a more powerful version of the X7. This is known as the X7 M60i. And the big question I want answered, for those of you who are looking for the ultimate driving family SUV, has BMW managed to perfect the formula? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling of the latest 2025 X7, I thought I'd go ahead and pop the hood and remind you guys what's powering this thing. Now, here in America, BMW offers a choice between 3 different powertrain models, starting, of course, at the base xDrive 40 that I tested a couple of years ago. This model, however, is the mid option. It's the M60, which has the company's twin turbocharged 4.4-liter V8. Now, as you can see underneath this hood, you're going to find a beautiful looking engine. It's also a longitudinally mounted engine because this is built on their latest rear drive cluster architecture, of course. This powertrain technically is the same as the M60i. It was technically changed to M60i this year, not because it got more power or a new powertrain, but because it falls more in line with other BMW models like the iX. But the 4.4-liter twin-turbo double overhead cam V8 is now electrically assisted by a mild hybrid system, of course, and the power output figures are unchanged. You have 523 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. That's a big, healthy jump versus the 375 that you get in the xDrive 40 model that we tested a couple years ago, which honestly was enough engine for most people. It all goes out through an 8-speed automatic transmission. And this vehicle comes standard with the company's xDrive all-wheel drive system. There is no rear drive model, at least for the V8 version. I don't actually think the 6-cylinder comes with rear drive either. Maybe it did initially, but not anymore. All X7s are all-wheel drive. Fuel economy is rated at 16 in the city and 20 on the highway. That's, of course, on premium gas. That's required, of course, to get the best performance out of this engine. It has around a 22-gallon fuel tank. You're looking at around 400-ish miles of range on a full tank. Now, BMW claims this model is good for 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Top speed is around 155 miles an hour. And as this car sits, it weighs in at around 5,800 pounds. Max towing capacity is also pretty impressive at around 7,500 pounds. If you guys want more power, there's an XB7 Alpina that roughly does 610 horsepower. But again, that model is going to cost you an extra $41,000. This powertrain, however, is nearly $30,000 more versus the standard inline 6. But let's go ahead and close up the hood here and talk about the exterior styling. Now, this exterior color that I'm showing you is called Marina Bay Blue Metallic. This is actually a free color, and I have to say this blue is absolutely stunning. I'm kind of a sucker for any kind of dark blue metallic exterior color, especially with the M60, which comes standard with their M Sport package. You can see the hood has multiple lines and angles to kind of give it a lot more character. You've got the big BMW logo, the big twin kidney grills, which are also illuminated. And they also have active grille shutters with an M badge off to the side. The headlights, you can see these are the same kind of divorced headlight style that we saw on the new 7 Series a couple of years ago. You can get the option of a crystal headlight for an extra $2,000. My test car doesn't have it, so it has just the standard LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, which have this interesting and kind of weird looking fade in and fade out. The projector headlights are down here at the lower area. There are no fog lights, but you do have all weather lights, which kind of function as fog lights. And you can see the front fascia with all the gloss black has some functional air intake openings, a front camera system that's part of the executive package, or I believe like a parking assist package. You can see integrated parking sensors as well. And overall, let me know in the comment section below. I actually still think the pre-refreshed X7 looks better, but some of you may disagree with me. This look is starting to grow on me. but there are some, certain angles and elements about the front fascia that I still am not entirely sure of. Now, moving around the side profile, I mentioned earlier, this is built on the same cluster architecture that also underpins the X5, but it's also significantly larger. We're talking nearly 10 inches longer in the overall length at 203.6 inches long, with a 122-inch long wheelbase, roughly a 5-inch longer wheelbase. So this is a pretty lengthy SUV, but it's also not quite as long as something like a Cadillac Escalade or a Lincoln Navigator. So this is still much more manageable, but it also is a little deceiving. It doesn't look all that big from the outside compared to some of its rivals. Now, the X7 M60 comes with these really gorgeous looking 22-inch alloy wheels. They have a multiple spoke design with a bicolor finish. You have a 275 by 40 R22 Pirelli P0 Summer run flat tires. The rears are even fatter at 315 by 35 R22. You can also option in a 23-inch wheel if you'd like. The brakes are also huge. You can get either this black painted caliper or a blue painted caliper, 15.7 inches in the front and basically the same size in the rear. BMW says with the air suspension that's standard on this model, in its normal mode, you have around 8.7 inches of ground clearance. You can also jack that up, obviously, with the touch of a button. I love the full paint finish that you get with the M Sport package. I'm not sure I love this kind of weird black accent here that almost looks like a hockey stick, but it's kind of been a trademark design that BMW's been doing for years now. You also have black side mirrors. You've got the M-style power folding side mirrors as well with integrated turn signals and a full 360 camera as well. This looks really good with all the black accents. I love the brown leather interior as well. And then you can see a panoramic sunroof is included on this trim. My test car also has the executive package that rolls in the LED lighting in the actual panoramic roof. It also opens up to vent air. And there's also a glass roof in the back of the vehicle as well for the third row, which is really nice. Now, looking at the rest of the profile here, you can see it's a boxy SUV, but it also kind of just looks like a supersized X5, which was kind of the mission of the X7. I think BMW did a really great job there with the design. As you can see, looking at the back, the taillights are also pretty distinctive. They have that C shape design to them that a lot of other BMWs have. The taillights also are full LED. They do that fade in and fade out look. Of course, there's typical badging back here, including an M60i, but this is not an X7M. They don't technically make that. The XB7 Alpina is the closest thing you're going to get to an M. And as you can see with the rear bumper, it also offers a full paint finish with an integrated quad outlet exhaust system. Now, this model here comes standard with BMW's active exhaust. It's actually a really nice sounding engine, so let's go ahead and fire it up. You can hear how it sounds real quick. And I have to say, in a world where V8s are becoming far less common, it is really satisfying to hear the burble of that twin turbocharged V8 that's also electrically assisted. Now, as you can see, the rear spoiler isn't all that large. The rear wiper is kind of sitting here at the back. BMW does not offer a digital camera review mirror. I would have liked if they tucked this in underneath the spoiler to kind of clean up the look. I like the black that kind of goes across the taillights, of course. And then when you look at the cargo capacity, you can see a power liftgate is standard, which is a nice touch. I also love how you have that split tailgate design. A lot of premium brands are going with that split tailgate design, which I think is a really nice touch. You can see the cargo space. If you look underneath here, there's a pretty decent underfloor storage area. And this vehicle does come standard with a third row, which is also a power folding third row. As you can see, it's really simple to put the third row up and down. This is with it up. You have around 12 cubic feet of storage space with the third row seat up. As you can see, it's not a lot of storage space back here, but it is nice how at least BMW at least comes standard with the third row. This does not sit 3 people across. However, when you fold down that third row, you basically just push that little toggle switch there. That'll expand the cargo to around 46 cubic feet of space. This is probably how most people are going to have the X7 most of the time, which offers a generous amount of cargo space. If you want to fold down everything, you can also do so with the second row here, or just push the little max button, and that'll give you a maximum of 87 cubic feet of total storage space, which 87 is also a pretty decent amount. But just remember, something like that Lincoln Navigator that's in my garage can easily do, another 30 more cubic feet of storage space. So this is, spacious for a BMW SUV, but if you need more space, you should also check out its American rivals. Now moving on to the interior of the latest BMW X7. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. As you can see, this is BMW's current intelligent access key. It certainly is a really nice looking key. It's a little bit on the large side, but you do have the typical BMW badging here with the M colors. It has a pretty good amount of buttons here. The BMW button there will lock the doors. The mirrors will also electrically fold in. You can also access the remote start by pressing the BMW logo 3 times. And then the unlock button is here, power liftgate, and then a panic function. BMW, I believe, also offers their phone as a key if you're an owner of the vehicle, which is also a nice touch. Now, BMW does offer an auto walkaway lock and unlock feature. I don't have it turned on at the moment, but when it's not on, you just touch the back of the door handle, that will unlock the door for you. The mirrors will also electrically fold out. Now, my particular test car has a really gorgeous color combination. So you have the Marina Bay blue metallic exterior with the Tarfuto, I'm probably mispronouncing it, extended merino leather. So this is the upgraded full merino leather that you get on the inside. The leather itself feels really high quality, extremely plush. I love how the headrest can basically wing out to create almost like a pillow effect. These seats, I believe, adjust in like 20 different ways. They are heated, ventilated, and massaging, which is what you're going to expect when you're looking at a flagship SUV like this. That's part of the executive package that includes the massage function as well. And you can also get a climate package that my test car has for an extra $1,600 that rolls in the heated and cooled front seats, which is also a really nice touch. You can see a lot of controls here down here by the seat, which you can also adjust the bolsters, of course. The massage button is going to be located here, or you can also do it on the screen. The door panel, as you can see, has beautiful real leather stitching on the upper portion, and on the lower portion, aluminum accented door handle. Really high quality buttons and switchgear, and the windows are one touch for all 4. They have a nice satisfying click to it. Love the kind of brown and black two-tone combination. My test car also has an optional carbon fiber, genuine carbon fiber on the door panels and dash, and then for $3,600, you can get the Bowers & Wilkins 20-speaker audio system, which these speakers are also illuminated at night, which looks beautiful. They sound incredible. If you guys are an audiophile, highly recommend that. Down here in the lower portion, it's even a soft touch injection molded plastic. Really, your only cheap hard plastic is in on that inner portion of the door pockets. The aluminum pedals are also included with the M Sport model, and overall, it certainly makes a great first impression. Now, stepping inside with around 8.7 inches of ground clearance, you have a nice, easy step-in height. And then as I get in and shut the door has a really solid sounding thunk, and because we have the executive package, this car also has a soft close feature, which is something that you'd expect, of course, from a vehicle like this. Now, starting the car up, the start-stop button is like right here by the center console, or in the center console. And because this is a mild hybrid, the engine just kind of whirs to life. It doesn't have that traditional starter noise, but it has that signature classic V8 rumble. So when I put it into, for example, Sport Plus, that is a really lovely sound. It sounds good even on the inside, and I'm surprised there's not really the super soft limiter like you would find in some of the competing or other markets of this car. Now, let me just turn the air conditioning down a tad. It's a little bit too noisy. And let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of this cabin. As you can see, the interior of this car looks pretty familiar to other BMW models. What you expect, of course, this is, again, part of their, flagship SUV family. You can see the door or the upper dash material has some beautiful real leather stitching across the upper dash. I love the carbon fiber here that looks expensive. It feels really nice. The executive package also rolls in the heads-up display, which is also a really nice touch. The steering wheel, as you can see, has a really nice look to it with the thick rim. It's got some tricolor stitching on it, which is kind of reminiscent of the BMW M colors, of course. It's got stitching over the airbag cover. You have paddles, although they're plastic paddles to control the 8-speed auto. This vehicle does have BMW's latest driver assistance tech package for $2,500. This vehicle actually allows for hands-off driving at speeds up to 85 miles an hour now. That's new technically this year. So it's kind of similar to what you'd find from like Ford's Blue Cruise or GM Super Cruise. Of course, the infotainment system, as you can see, BMW has definitely annoyingly moved some of the buttons into the climate functions, which can be a little bit annoying. For example, if I want to turn or access the third row climate control functions, I can basically do so here. Let me go ahead and turn that down because I'm still hearing the fan go off, but everything is kind of built into the screen over here for your climate functions, which is fine, but at the same time, some of the purists would really prefer hard buttons. BMW is trying to clean that look up. So once you kind of set everything here, for example, this is how you're gonna essentially access the climate functions through right here on the actual screen. I really don't like, however, when you go from low to very low, the fan speed is extremely, different. There should be something in between that, I almost feel like, although it is relatively hot outside. You can see there's my phone connected I'm sorry, my phone's not connected, but that's the embedded GPS for this vehicle, of course. Go back to or that's the home screen technically. If you click on that, you can access all your different sources. This is, again, BMW's iDrive 8.5, which isn't necessarily my favorite infotainment software, but I will say that it's really quick and snappy. It just takes a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, for the most part, it gets the job done. The graphics and resolution is fantastic. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as you'd expect, of course. I've shown you guys the system in other BMWs before. If I put the vehicle into reverse, there's your full top-down 360 camera, of course, which offers trajectory, distance markers, and the quality and resolution is pretty good, although I have seen slightly better quality resolution from other manufacturers, including BMW themselves. So again, this is kind of showing that this is their older infotainment software, which is a little bit disappointing, but you can adjust the ambient lighting for this interior at night. You can see if you want to adjust the color, you basically go here. BMW doesn't quite have the different color arrangements that some of the competitors have. I'm surprised it's actually not letting me access that. It was letting me access that before, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But for the most part, you can also use the iDrive controller here if you don't want to use the touchscreen, but most people are going to use this as a touchscreen functionality, and it is pretty responsive. In the screen, 14.5 inches across here, and it also still has gesture controls. You have a 12.3-inch display over here, so it kind of creates one continuous display, but it's two separate screens. So it's not as overwhelming as what you'd find from Mercedes, for example, but I think this is also still pretty impressive looking. I also love how this ambient lighting in here also kind of showcases the M badge over there. Instead of it saying X7, it says M. The vents, as you can see, it's a traditional manual toggle to manipulate the airflow, and if you want to adjust or turn on the massaging seats, you basically push that button there. It'll activate 3 different intensities, several different types of massage. Again, that's part of the executive package. You have an actual volume knob here, some touch sensitive buttons, as you can see, for the quick access to your defrost and your rear defogger, a skip button over there. Your wireless phone charging pad is here, and you have a USB-C or USB-A port there. The executive package also rolls in heated and cooled cup holders. That's a really great feature when you guys are road tripping the vehicle. There's also a little lid here that closes off to kind of clean up this look. This area here does have a little piano black plastic. As you can see with the executive package, you have the crystal glass controls, which I love. The shifter, for example, it looks like it literally looks like a piece of jewelry, which I love. And then you can see that iDrive controller also looks a little bit nicer. There's where you can raise and lower the air suspension. You have some genuine aluminum trim here. Nice padded leather, of course. If I open that up, it's not the biggest center console, but again, it gets the job done. There's just one USB-C port in there. There actually needs to be more USB-Cs in the front seat area. I'm a little disappointed by that. Again, I mentioned earlier, this full merino leather is really supple. It feels expensive. It smells really nice in here. Although this car is lacking like a perfume that wafts a scent into the cabin. Some competitors offer that. BMW surprisingly still doesn't have that feature in this vehicle. You have like a suede Alcantara for the headliner, which is nice. This is the panoramic Vista roof that also kind of has their panoramic sky lounge effect, where it also has some LED ambient lighting. It looks really cool at night. And then if you open up the glove box, you can see it's big. It goes into the dash, it's stamped, and it's lined with felt. So it all has the luxury and technology. The build quality seems excellent. You can actually see the speaker there is slightly illuminated since it's a little bit kind of overcast outside. You have a frameless auto-dimming rearview mirror here, no digital camera rearview mirror, and you can also open and close this. Obviously, it's got a retractable shade, or you can also tilt and open it completely to let in some air. So overall, the interior isn't really different from the one that we tested 2 years ago, but it still feels really high-tech. It still has a ton of luxury features. Build quality is exquisite. Visibility is also good. It smells really expensive in here, so it's very befitting of a flagship BMW SUV. Now moving into the second and the third row, this is the whole reason why you bought a BMW X7, for its increase in interior flexibility. As you can see, my particular test car has the captain's chairs. These are an extra $850. They also include power adjustments, which you can basically move forward and back. You can also recline the seats. The seats themselves also have this really cushy pillow attached to it, and it also is covered in the same Tarfudo full merino leather, which makes them almost as plush as the front seats. BMW says you have around 37.5 inches of legroom back here, which is generous, but also not as spacious as some of its rivals. The door panel has the same beautiful leather stitching, real leather stitching on the upper and the lower portion. You also have buttons here where you can open and close the retractable sunshades, which again is a wonderful feature that some competitors are even missing, so that's infuriating. Down here, it's also a soft touch plastic, more carbon fiber and metal speaker covers there, so that's always a nice touch. Now getting back here, you can see as I shut the door, The space back here is just plentiful, and this is basically my driving position. You have beautiful ambient lighting in here. There's a lot of, you know, materials here. As you can see, you do have rear seat air vents. You have 5-zone climate control. So this side has its own climate, the other side over here has its own climate, and then the third row has its own climate. So that's part of the executive package and the climate package. Unfortunately, you only get 3-level heated seats and no ventilated seats. I think this is inexcusable for at this price point. No massaging second row seats as well. So that's something I think BMW needs to work on. Although I haven't been inside an Alpina XB7 to see if they include that in that model. I really love, again, the pillows that you get here. The seats have this really super adjustable armrest that you can basically move out of the way if you'd like, and they also slide forward and back. You have cup holders here, USB storage, or USB in addition to some more storage, a 12-volt power outlet, but not a household power outlet. And then if you open this up, you can actually have another USB here, and it also has like a mounting point if you guys want to mount a tablet back here. So that's also a really nice touch. The beautiful suede comes over into the back area, as you can see, and there's also plenty of headroom space. So there's a lot of room in here to get comfortable. These second row seats are basically as nice as the front row seats, which is, you know, a huge plus. Now, if you want to get back into the third row, BMW allows you to do that by basically tilting this forward. You kind of have to slam it forward a little bit to get it to move out of the way. And as you can see, the third row only seats 2 people across. So this model here only has a seating capacity of 6 as opposed to 7. You can also get a bench seat if you'd like. The captain's chairs, like I mentioned earlier, are an extra $850. As I slide over here into the third row, as you can see, this seat's not all the way back. This is actually probably up a couple of inches, but it gives you a little bit more space for somebody my height. Now, BMW says you have around 33 inches of legroom back here. I'm not entirely sure how they're measuring the 33 inches, but this is actually usable for somebody of average height like myself. You can see there's still ambient lighting and real leather back here, which is nice. Cup holders, and then you can see this window is a little on the small side, but there's some soft touch injection molded plastic here, which is unexpected. You also have third row air vents, and you also have your own climate control functions here. Like I mentioned, it's a 5-zone climate control, and there's also 3-level heated seats in the third row. I think the X7 was one of the first family SUVs with the third row that included heat, but again, no ventilation. You can also open and close this if you guys don't like the extra sun coming in. I wish that this was wide enough to sit 3 people across, but I will say that the floor is nice and low, and I could sit back here on some shorter drives. You can see headroom space. I have maybe like 1 inch of headroom clearance, and this, you know, glass roof over the third row is certainly a really nice touch. So overall, again, if you plan to use this as a family vehicle, while this isn't the most spacious third row, I am surprised that you can actually fit average size adults back here. So it's been about 2 years since we had a chance to spend a full week with the latest BMW X7. Remember, this car got a significant refresh back in 2023. BMW almost gave it like a mini redesign. They call their refreshes an LCI for life cycle impulse. But the last one that we drove had the base engine. It was an xDrive 40, which meant it had the 3-liter twin-powered turbo inline 6 that was electrified. That model actually had plenty of power for what it was. We got a 0 to 60 time of 5.4 seconds, which is kind of really fast for a vehicle that is as big as it is, as heavy as it is, as capable as it is. But now that we're driving the M60i, remember, this powertrain is basically almost like the M version of what you'll find in like an X5M competition. However, it has less power, obviously almost 100 less horsepower, but the torque figure is 553 pound-feet, which is plentiful amounts of torque. I mean, this vehicle has about 148 more horsepower, almost 150 more horsepower than the base engine. And of course, if this isn't enough, there's an XB7 Alpina, which can ramp the power up to 630. BMW claims it's good for 0 to 60 in around 4.5 seconds. We got 5.4 last time in the inline 6, so let's go ahead and see what we can get in the mid-engine option with the V8. Now, to get the best time, you basically need to put everything into Sport Plus setting, turn the traction control into its off setting to engage Sport Traction. Basically, when you do this, it engages maximum attack mode, and then you basically just floor the brake and the accelerator, which activates launch control. Oh! We got 4.11 seconds there. Now, I want to point out that stretch that we just did it on is slightly uphill, so don't be surprised to see, I won't be surprised to see this car do a sub 4 second run. Now, It is shocking to me just how potent this V8 is. I mean, yes, it has an extra 150 horsepower more, but I was not expecting it to be a second and a half quicker on our first run there. So this is impressive performance, and it almost makes you question whether or not you need to get the Alpina XB7. Although granted, the Alpina XB7 does have an extra 130 horsepower. This engine though, I love the sounds of this twin turbo V8. It's just so satisfying to have a V8 in this vehicle. It's just very burly. It sounds like a German, it sounds like a muscle car, basically like a German muscle car. And the fact that BMW still offers a V8 as the mid option is just really satisfying in today's modern world. I mean, yes, this is an electrified mild hybrid V8, but it just delivers such a sucker punch of power, a wave of torque that just feels effortless. It moves this nearly 6,000 pound beast with so much authority. It feels so much smaller from behind the wheel. And around these corners, the steering actually provides some decent heft to it. Not much feedback, but the car feels so much smaller than its size would suggest, especially when you couple it with the rear wheel steering, of course. This car has the adaptive air suspension. It's standard when you guys go for the V8. It's optional, of course, on the 6-cylinder model. But it really just shrinks the turning radius of this vehicle, and it makes it feel so much smaller than it is. If you guys are basically looking for the ultimate driving 3-row luxury SUV, look no further than the X7. Now, the beauty about the X7 is when you're ready to drive this vehicle on a longer road trip, it truly does have split personalities, because when you switch the drive mode from Sport Plus or Sport into its comfort setting, the adaptive dampers get a lot more soft. The engine gets a little bit quieter because it does have their sound enhancer, although the V8 also has an active exhaust system, so it actually makes the vehicle sound a little bit louder in Sport Plus. The bolsters also in the seats will kind of hug you in place. They'll squeeze you a little bit tighter when you're in Sport Plus mode versus when you're in comfort mode. The 4-wheel steering also still delivers a shorter turning radius. It makes this vehicle shrink when you're driving it, and that's kind of where the beauty about the X7 lies, is you can still drive this vehicle fast on your favorite back road, and then you put into comfort and you can drive it on a long trip. I actually had the pleasure of taking this vehicle on a 500-mile road trip down to South Carolina over the weekend, and I put 1,000 miles on this car total, and it was absolutely fantastic. Just comfortable and smooth, quiet when you want it to be, fast when you need it to be to pass slow-moving vehicles. The seats are also extremely comfortable. They come with an active front seat massage function, which you can turn on easily, and it does a pretty good job at just wearing away the fatigue that you might feel on those longer trips. And in terms of fuel efficiency, I was getting around 21 miles to the gallon in mixed driving. That's a mixture of city and highway, but on the pure highway, this vehicle was doing 24 miles to the gallon. So I beat the EPA's numbers by about 4 mpg, which means you can easily go around 500 miles of range on a full tank. Now, this vehicle is running on premium. It's required, of course, but 500 miles of range. Now, it also means that, at gas at 380 a gallon, which is relatively cheap nowadays, you're looking at around a $70 fill up when you're going from empty to full, but it's still absolutely amazing. This is the ultimate road trip vehicle. It has that comfortable ride when you need it to be, but it's also sporty when you want it to be. It's fast when you need it to be as well. And it just has that split personality. I can go back into its Sport Plus setting here, and this vehicle just feels so much stiffer. It feels basically like a slightly bigger version of an X5, and that's what I love about this car so much, is it feels so fast. And it also feels so dynamic. No other large SUV feels quite as good as this vehicle, and that's kind of where BMW nailed the driving dynamics of this car. Let's try one more 0 to 60 on a flat surface this time. Engage the launch control. Oh, jeez. 3.9 seconds there. 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, which is unheard of fast. I mean, the last X5M competition that I tested did it in 3.5 seconds. So the fact that this vehicle weighs almost 6,000 pounds, it's like a good 400 pounds heavier than the X5M competition, really tells me that BMW is severely underrating the power output of this motor. And it's shocking. It's shockingly good how fast this car is, and I'm blown away. The V8 is a pricey $27,000 more, but you get a lot with it. I'm not sure if it's worth it. The Inline 6 will deliver 5.4 seconds all day long, so it's around a second and a half slower. but still, there is something so immensely satisfying about this V8. Visibility is also excellent. This is an easy car to drive, an easy car to live with. It offers the practicality that you're looking for. Maybe not the same practicality as an Escalade, but it's just so much more satisfying to drive. So for me as a driving enthusiast, if I needed a luxury 3-row SUV, this instantly becomes my favorite one. If you don't need the third row, buy an X5. That's the beauty about BMW's, SUV lineup, is there's so much variety, yet they're so thrilling and enjoyable to drive on a daily basis. So bravo BMW, this V8 model simply took my breath away. Now, with just under 30,000 units sold last year, the BMW X7 was the company's third best-selling SUV, right behind, of course, their top sellers, the X3 and the BMW X5. Sales have actually been improving every year, which really shows you that BMW has basically captured the magic formula of the X5 into a bigger package that's going to be more family-friendly. Because as you guys saw, the way this thing drives is very befitting of a BMW. It very much feels like the ultimate driving SUV. It drives a lot smaller than it actually is, which is a huge plus for enthusiasts that are basically looking for more space, but you don't want to drive around something that feels like a gigantic boat or a tank. The X5 or the X7 basically just feels like a slightly bigger X5 with a little bit more interior space. The powertrain in this V8 model is absolutely lovely. It has a burly note to it. It's quick. It does 0 to 60, as you guys saw, in the sub 4-second range whenever you guys use the launch control. This is a quick vehicle, and typical German car, I feel like the engine is underrated. The 0 to 60 time that BMW quotes is very conservative, and even though this vehicle is big on big 22-inch wheels, it still has an agreeable ride quality. Combine that with sublime handling, and this again is pure driving nirvana. It's one of the best driving big SUVs you can find, especially with the V8 engine with that burly note. Now, of course, 2 years ago, I tested the 6-cylinder, which did 0 to 60 in around 5.4 seconds. This version here is around 1.5 seconds faster, so it's certainly a nice upcharge, but again, it is a pricey upcharge to go with the V8 version. And there are still some issues about the X7 if you're looking for maximum cargo space and the ability to carry up to 7 people. The cargo area is pretty small. If you plan on basically just carrying 4 or maybe 5 people at a time, the cargo area is surely useful. The second row could use a little bit more leg room versus some of its rivals, and at this price point, this model is missing cool or ventilated second row seats, and it's also missing a massaging second row seat, which I find to be a little inexcusable given the price point of this vehicle. Now, speaking of which, if you're looking to get your hands on the latest X7, you're basically gonna have to shell out a pretty large sum of money, which would you expect? It's a BMW. The base X7 xDrive 40 is gonna start at around $86,700. So just under $90,000 for the base version. Typical BMW, you have to add in a lot of options. The M Sport package is one of the pricier ones at nearly $3,000 extra. Although this car, you could probably get away without getting the M Sport package. The V8 version, however, is going to start at just under $114,000. So again, that's a pretty hefty $27,000 more to go with the V8. Now, my particular test car has the executive package. It has this, it has the upgraded leather on the inside and a couple of other smaller options that like the Bowers & Wilkins stereo that also balloons the price up to around $123,775. So just under 124 grand certainly sounds like a lot of money, but at the same time, it's about the same price as like a fully loaded or a well-equipped version of like the Lincoln Navigator or the Cadillac Escalade. Now, granted, those vehicles are body-on-frame trucks that tow more, that have more interior space, but at the same time, none of them drive as good as this X7. So if you're looking for a large family SUV that's from a luxury brand that feels very much like a sporty sedan or a sports sedan, just taller with more space, the X7 should definitely make it to the top of your list. Just be sure you don't need to get the maximum amount of interior space for your passengers, and you're also okay with paying that price premium that BMWs typically charge you extra for. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full detailed overview on the brand new 2025 BMW X7 in this M60i. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.